Hello everyone! Welcome back to another English learning video. Do you want to understand English stories easily? Do you want to speak English more naturally and confidently? Then this story is for you. Today, we will practice English using the shadowing technique. I will tell you a beautiful story, sentence by sentence. Listen carefully. Pause the video. Repeat after me. This method trains your brain to think in English. Are you ready? Let's begin.
My name is Lily Anderson, and this is the story of how one wrong turn changed my life forever. I am from Canada. I am a quiet person. I love books, long walks, and peaceful places. For many years, I worked hard and saved money. My dream was simple. I wanted to travel alone just once to find myself. Last spring, I finally did it. I booked a trip to Italy. I was excited, but I was also afraid. This was my first solo trip. I did not speak Italian. I did not know anyone there. When I arrived in Rome, everything felt unreal. The streets were old and beautiful. The buildings told stories without words. On my second day, I decided to visit a small town outside the city. The hotel receptionist gave me directions. I smiled and nodded. But honestly, I did not understand everything. I took a bus, then another bus, then I walked. After some time, I realized something was wrong. The streets became empty. The shops disappeared. I checked my phone. No signal. My heart beat faster. I told myself, "Stay calm, Lily." I kept walking, hoping to find people. But the sun was going down. The sky slowly turned orange. Suddenly, I heard footsteps behind me. I stopped. I turned around. A man was standing there. He looked about 30 years old. He had dark hair and kind eyes. He said something in Italian. I did not understand. I felt nervous. I stepped back. The man noticed my fear. He raised his hands slowly. He smiled gently. Then he said, in broken English, "Are you lost?" Relief washed over me. I said, "Yes, I am very lost." He nodded. He said, "My name is Marco. This is not a safe place at night." I hesitated. Should I trust him? But I had no other choice. Marco said, "Come, I help you." I took a deep breath, and I followed him. I did not know it yet, but this moment would change everything. Marco led me down a narrow street. My heart was still beating fast. I stayed alert. I watched everything. He noticed my silence. He said softly, "You are safe. I promise." After 5 minutes, we reached a small cafe. Warm light came from the windows. People were inside. Families. Old men talking. I finally felt calm. Marco said, "Sit. I bring water." I sat down and held the glass with shaking hands. Marco asked, "Why you come here alone?" I smiled weakly. "I needed to breathe," I said. He nodded, as if he understood deeply. Marco told me he was a local teacher. He taught history at a nearby school. He loved his town, but sometimes he dreamed of leaving. I told him about my life, my routine job, my quiet loneliness. We talked slowly, sentence by sentence. English was hard for him. Italian was impossible for me. But somehow, we understood each other. After the cafe closed, Marco called his sister. She owned a small guest house. She helped travelers, he said. We walked together. The streets no longer felt scary. At the guest house, his sister smiled warmly. She showed me a small, clean room. I thanked Marco many times. Before leaving, he said, "Tomorrow I show you real town, not tourist town." I laughed. "Okay," I said. That night I slept deeply. For the first time in months, my mind was quiet. The next day, Marco showed me hidden streets, local markets, a small library near the river. Time moved differently with him. Days passed, then weeks. I delayed my return ticket. I started helping at the guest house. I learned basic Italian words. Marco and I talked every evening, sometimes about dreams, sometimes about fears. One night, during a festival, music filled the streets. Lights danced in the air. Marco looked at me and said, "Lily, you changed something inside me." My heart skipped. I wanted to say something, but fear stopped me. I smiled instead. That silence would soon be tested. One morning I received an email. It was from my company. They offered me a promotion, more money, more responsibility, but it meant returning home immediately. My hands trembled. That evening I told Marco. He listened quietly. Then he said, "This is good news," but his eyes were sad. I asked, "Will you miss me?" He looked away. "Yes," he said softly. The night felt heavy. Days became awkward. Words became few. I packed my bag. On my last night, the town lost power. The streets went dark. I walked outside, confused. Then I heard my name. Lily. Marco was running toward me. He stood in front of me, breathing hard. "I cannot lose you without saying truth," he said. My heart pounded. "I love you," he said. "Not like a friend. I love you deeply." Tears filled my eyes. "I love you too," I whispered. But reality stood between us. Different countries, different lives. We held each other in silence. The next morning I left. At the airport I looked back. Marco stood there, smiling sadly. I boarded the plane. I thought that was the end. I was wrong. Back home, life felt empty. The promotion meant nothing. Every place reminded me of Italy, of Marco. 3 months later, I made a decision. I resigned. My friends thought I was crazy, but my heart was clear. I booked a one-way ticket. When I returned to the town, it was raining. I walked to the cafe. Then I saw him. Marco stood there, shocked. I said, "I got lost once and found my life." He smiled through tears. We hugged tightly. This time I did not leave. I started teaching English. Marco continued teaching history. We built a simple life, a happy life. Sometimes getting lost is not a mistake. Sometimes it is the path. This is my story.
Now it's your turn. Go back. Listen again. Pause after each sentence. Repeat aloud. Practice every day. Your English will grow stronger. See you in the next story.